Human design reveals who you are energetically and who you came here to be. I'm Dana, your human design guide.
And I'm Haley, on this journey with you to uncover the power of human design.
Together, we're here to explore how embracing your authentic self is the ultimate path to a life of more freedom and fulfillment.
Welcome to the Human Design Hive podcast. Let's get into it.
Well, hello there, Haley. How you doing?
Hi, I'm good.
Good. It's good to see you. Even though we've been talking for 45 minutes already, like we do. We haven't been recording as many episodes lately, but I don't want to say but. And that means I don't see you as often.
I know.
Face to face, which is, and I think we mentioned the last time you've taken Instagram off your phone or you don't even use it anymore. So all those reels I send you just pile up.
Well, it's nice because then I get a stockpile. I check it, I don't know, maybe once a month now. So I go through and I'm like, oh my God, there's so many.
I know.
Especially the chat with you and Nancy.
And I'm not on there all day. I usually more towards the evening, I might go watch a few things. And I realized that there's probably a pattern in Nancy's inbox where suddenly she'll get blasted with 5 reels at 10:30 at night. Yes. And I'm like, oh God, I'm so predictable. Which is funny because that's going to be kind of relevant to where we get started today with our transits. Because obviously, did I say it yet? It was a transit episode.
I don't think so.
Welcome to December, everyone. All right. Well, we have, how many? Let's see. We've got 6 transits to get through this month because first one's going to be around December 3rd. Last one comes through on the last day of the month. So, transit episodes, Haley, for anybody that's new here, what are we going to do today? What are we talking about?
So, well, first of all, there's lots of transits that happen in the chart, but we, in these episodes, just focus on the sun and the earth. We've added the earth in this latest series, but we focus on those two because, well, they're programming partners, so they're always kind of moving in tandem, but they're also hold the most weight in your chart per se. They have a very big influence, especially the sun, very big influence on how your chart plays out, or how the energy plays out, which is why we look at the transits, because every roughly 6 days, the sun moves through a gate. So we focus on that. So you kind of have a little inside peek into how the world might be feeling.
True. Yes, very good. And as she said, roughly every 6 days, because what the dates that I am giving you are from Ephemeris that I got years ago. That is giving you the position of all the planets at 12 a.m., I believe, UTC, so Universal Time, right? So when you get the email from me that does transits, it may be the day before, it may be later in the day than what I tell you. I mean, I know nobody's really probably writing them down and going, oh my God, she said this is going to happen on December 3rd, but she's sending me the email on December 2nd at 6 p.m. So I'd do my best. But I think, as you mentioned in the last episode, everything's in motion. It's not like it stops at a gate and waits to come in. It's ushering, all the planets are moving through all the time, as you said. And, but you will find that these gates that we talk about, even though there might be a slight variation in the exact time, they always happen around the same time of the year. Case in point, I just had my birthday last month, November 20th. And, I'm a 4/1. But this year, around the time of my birthday, the actual time of it was in line 5. So because everything's always moving and changing, but so there's going to be some variations throughout the years and everything. But for the most part, you're always going to find these gates happening around the same time every year. And also, when you mentioned about the amount of weight that these gates hold in your chart. If you want to know a little bit more about that, we did just do last month also the Incarnation Cross workshop, which was a lot of fun. We did a 2-hour workshop on Zoom, and we talked about that, how these themes of your sun and earth gates and your conscious and unconscious side help shape the theme in your life, and getting a better understanding of what your path might be like, your role, that kind of thing. And if you missed it live, I do have it up on my website as a standalone replay that's for purchase. So if you want to go check that out, you can do that over at humandesignhive.com. If you're interested in that, you can access that anytime you want. So I just want to make sure everybody knew about that. So here we go. You ready?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Well, as I mentioned a minute ago about my tendency to get things in a certain routine, right? Mm-hmm. We know I like this consistency of things sometimes. So on December 3rd, we are going to have the sun moving into gate 5, which is the gate of patterns. In traditional, it's called patterns. The I Ching, it's called waiting. And in quantum, she calls it consistency. And it's in the channel of rhythm with the gate 15. Mm-hmm. So it's a sacral gate. You see it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. And then the earth is going to be in gate 35, which is up in the throat.
Yep.
You see it? Gate of change. In the I Ching, it's called progress. And in quantum, she calls it experience. And it sits in the channel of transitoriness with gate 36. Yeah, reaching down to the solar plexus. So you know there's going to be emotional themes there.
Yeah.
And then I guess with gate 5, it's sacral, so it's going to be a response kind of thing, right?
Yeah, interesting. Patterns with change.
Right? Well, we talked about this programming partners, and so gate 5 is that gate of patterns and consistency. So, steady, predictable rhythms. It's like natural rhythms. It's the cycles of nature, that kind of thing. Knowing that there are certain predictable patterns in life. And then if you have this gate defined in your chart somewhere, you probably find that there are certain things that you like to have in your environment or in your routine or whatever, in a consistent, predictable way. Or you might just pick up new habits like that, like I do. I didn't always do that, of having a certain rhythm, but I was noticing it today as I was preparing for this episode, of how it may change at different times of the year, or I might go through a cycle where I do the same thing in the same pattern in the same, order for like 6 months, or I'll eat the same thing for breakfast for like 6 months, and then it'll all change. But now it's like, wake up, have to pet the cat while she's on my bed, and then I gotta do some stretches, then I gotta brush my teeth, open the window, let the new cats in, gotta do my morning more stretching and all this stuff. All these things that I do in order.
You said, open the window, let the new cats in. I know it's two separate things. They don't come from the window.
They don't come through the window. No, they don't. Good catch. No, we have 2 new kittens. Well, they're about 4.5, 5 months old. They are big. But I don't let them in the back part of my house right now when I'm sleeping, because I can't handle it.
No.
So I let them into my bedroom, where I have an open window, because they love looking out the window at the birds.
Yeah.
But anyways, I was just noticing, I have a routine of doing things, go out and do this, get the coffee. While I'm making coffee, I take care of the things I don't really want to be doing first thing in the morning, like, cleaning this up or doing that, whatever. So that's a lot of that kind of energy in this gate, but it's because the idea is that these rituals and practices and consistency can help you create kind of an internal harmony. It's like kind of safety in the routine of and also like regulating, for me, you got to be careful that you're not too rigid, but it is kind of, when you have a routine, it creates a stability. And I'm a 4-1, you're all about stability. Right? Kind of, but also being tuned to nature. If you have this gate, they say that you are kind of attuned to that natural world, and if there is something that feels off in you, to like get out in the world and observe nature and be a part of it, because there is this real resonance with that natural timing of things. Yeah. And then
I think this is the gate that I always think of, like waves crashing on the beach. Like there's a pattern to that. It's this like there's always going to be the waves crashing on the beach, but it's not like it's always the same. It's not the same wave, the same pattern of the wave crashing every single time.
That's very good. Well, and obviously that is a great analogy also, because we know that the waves are all part of that larger cycle of, the lunar cycle and everything else, and the way they move. But also, what you pointed out was so great because of the channel that it's in with the 15, which we're actually going to talk about the 15, so I don't want to talk about it too much right now. But there is that, when the tides are coming, and that can be predictable, right? And steady. But then, like you said, each wave is different. It's like it doesn't hit the same, look the same, but it's all part of that bigger rhythm. So we'll revisit that when we get to the other end of that channel. So then gate 35, gate of change, like you said. Oh, this is interesting. Patterns, consistency, change, right? And is there anything else you remember? I mean, within that channel, let's say, or within that energy with gate 35, if you look at it, it's a collective gate, right? It's part of the understanding circuitry, abstract circuitry.
I will say I don't. I think I have a big struggle with throat gates. Like I can't really remember much about them. They were
that undefined throat. Do you have a throat gate? You have an undefined throat. Yeah. I'm not looking at your
undefined
chart.
Throat, but I have the 50 or the 45. That is my unconscious.
Oh, that's right.
Earth.
I should know that.
Yes.
I should know that. We're going to talk about that later too. So it is connected to the solar plexus, and it is in that channel transitoriness. So this is gate 35 has a desire for experience, and it's for the purpose of emotional expansion. It can be kind of restless because it's always looking for like, what's next? What's the next experience? And it's about learning through lived experience rather than just ideas or theory, right? It also, there's a theme of emotional like growth and maturation through, not just experience, but through exploration, maybe getting things wrong, making mistakes, that kind of thing. But knowing that it's all part of the path, and that you have to like kind of go through that in order to glean the meaning. And then that is a throat gate, so it kind of gives voice to that experience. It is going to use telling that story or telling of the experience to help share the wisdom of what was learned. And so there's also going to be some timing involved there. Well, it's a throat gate. It's always a lot about timing, but then also, since it's connected to the solar plexus, could be tied to, either the emotional waves or when it feels right to share or when it's being asked to share. But really it's a movement forward, because where that energy starts down in that 41 to 30, and then over 36 up to 35, it is about, having the vision and the passion, and what do you want to create, what do you want to do, who do you want to do it with, where do you want to go, and then getting into action. So there can be, like I said, within that whole circuitry there, that restlessness, that feeling of boredom. There could be a lot of boredom within there, and tendency to do things just to get out of that feeling of boredom. Right? And so, yes, it can definitely jump into things without waiting for clarity, if this is the right way to go. And so also if you look at the gate 5, like I said, if you're always in your same routine, you can kind of get stuck there, you can get stagnant, you can try to control too much because it's interrupting with your, or it's interfering with your natural rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and whereas 35, you can start feeling anxious if you're not moving, gate 5 can feel anxious if it's
Too much moving.
It's not right, right. So, but we talk about, they're programming partners. So there's going to be some tension, there's going to be some harmony. And so there's these, like we just identified, this pull between consistency and change, or, predictability or adventure, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is, we talked about this in the workshop too, that the earth gate helps ground the energy, right, of the person, and is also, we say, where there could be themes that need to be either, healed or integrated or understood more in order for the sun energy to fully shine. Now, also point out, as we did in their workshop, with that, when you're following your type's strategy is going to be the most helpful thing for you to help understanding these gates and how they express. But gate 35 being, it's interesting, you would think, not that you would think, there is a time of the year when these are flipped, right? Where 35 is in the sun and 5 is in the earth. But in this instance, the 35 is supporting the 5. And so with that being present right now, if you look at the emotional part of gate 35, right? Because it is connected to an emotional gate. So it can bring a little bit more emotion and experience and context into gate 5's routines in life. It's about preventing the gate 5 from getting too rigid and getting too attached to any certain way of doing things. And it reminds gate 5 that growth happens, sure, through steadiness and through natural cycles, just like a tree grows over the course of a lifetime by going through those cycles of essentially sort of a death and rebirth kind of thing. But also just through the whole experience in life. Like, you have to kind of get out in the world, sometimes shake up the routine a little bit to understand if maybe this is still something that supports you the way that you do things in this way, right? Like, if you're always doing something the same way, then you're gonna, I think there's a potential, let's say, for stagnation, because you're not letting anything new in. You're not getting out there and exploring. So, like, let's say, this is such a simple example, but let's say that you always ate the same, I don't know, bacon and eggs for breakfast every morning. It makes you feel good. And then you go on a trip and you find that, wow, there's lots of different things you could have, a variety of life that could still be part of your routine, but you can also, like, shake it up a little bit and find a little bit of juice in life. And there's more to it than just always staying the same and, like, not. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, I was also thinking, like, you and your morning coffee routine, which I have a very similar coffee routine. I drink my coffee at home in the morning. But you could also, like, one day a week, instead of taking your morning coffee at home, you go out to a coffee shop, and you don't know, you could meet your next friend there or something, like, or make a new connection. Like, that's a new experience, while it's also kind of still keeping some of your same routine.
That's a very good way of looking at it. I think
Thank
even
you.
better than mine. Yeah, so having that experience can deepen your, rhythm and the things that you do. I think it helps add to it. And we can talk about it different times of the year when they're going to have the same, like, support to each other, but just in a different expression sometimes. So during this transit, whether or not you have this defined in your chart, or if it's a pretty prominent position, I would just look at the things like, are you getting too stuck in your routines? Is there room for you to maybe, mix it up a little bit. It doesn't mean you're throwing everything out, but there's that. But for all of us, since it's the sun gate, it's going to have an impact on everybody of what's happening, more so than a lot of other things. But, there could be this feeling of being pulled between that, craving a little bit of change. You might feel like mixing it up a little bit. You may feel also need to be a little bit more stable. You kind of see where you are on the spectrum there, what's coming up for you. A little bit of restlessness, a little emotional restlessness, especially if like your routine does feel stale, like we we're talking about, because I can understand that too. It's like I do love the consistent rhythm of the routines that I like, and it does bother me when I get interrupted, because it just throws the whole thing off. But then I also realize, well, that means I'm being a little bit too rigid, and I could be cutting myself off from, something else to happen that day. I see it all the time. I'll be like, no, this is the time of day I do this. Your dad might come in and be like, hey, you want to go with me to blah, blah, blah? And I'll be like,
that's not what I normally do.
But then that would shut everything off. Give me a little more time to prepare.
Give me like a 10 minutes heads up.
Yeah. I mean, because I'm always saying to him or other people, I'm okay with new experiences or doing something different. Just don't spring it on me at the moment and expect me to pivot right away. I'll be like, I can go do this for you, or we can go do this, but I need to know like a day or so ahead of time so I can like just map it out in my head what I need to do. Does that happen to you? Yes or no? Or do you feel that way, or do you not care?
Kind of sometimes, but also like, I don't know. I'm very much like, okay, let's just go with the flow. But if there's like something that I have in my own head been like planning for my afternoon or looking forward to, and then Presley's like, hey, do you want to go do this? Sometimes I'm like, no, because I've already been thinking about doing something else.
That's kind of what I mean. It's like, I
don't always, but I don't all the time, most of the time need like a huge heads up.
You think a day ahead's a huge heads up?
Yeah, it can be.
Well, I mean, if I have nothing else going on, maybe if it's that part of the day where I don't have a routine, I'll be okay. It's for free space.
I have a free hour at noon.
Yes. It's my digestion period. Yeah, I can go for a golf cart ride. But anyway, so there might be just themes of like, maybe wanting to look at your patterns, shake things up, try something new, just be open to it a little bit more. I'll have to check in and see what happens the next couple days while we're transiting. If I feel more emboldened to not stick to the routine. But so since this is a collective gate, or this collective energy, but it's not collective gate, but I was thinking about gate 35. But since this is a sun transit and it is affecting us all collectively, there's going to be potentially conversations around routine versus change in the collective. It's awful, there is a little shift there in December. We all things start getting, our schedules and everything can get off because we have all the holiday parties and we have so much going on. And so maybe we could be a little more open to some of these interruptions in our routine to perhaps go to the holiday party or, do something like that. People might be craving more adventure or something a little different in their lives. There could be some collective highs and lows towards a desire for progress and change, let's say. Yeah. And maybe a sense of we need a change collectively. Maybe we've been stuck in our patterns. Maybe we need help, But anyway, so those are some of the things that are going to be happening, but just watch out some of the pitfalls, Don't be too impulsive in your decisions because you might be bored or whatever. But then again, don't be too rigid. There is a thing there that could come up where you feel like there's something that needs to change, but you don't have the clarity yet. And that's the kind of the, not downside, but shadow of that gate 35, and in that transitoriness is why we love the name transitoriness, because it is transitory. It's like, I'm going here, I'm going there, it's just like, I need something new, craving adventure, something.
Movement.
So try to lean into the stability of rhythm, and knowing that there is a natural rhythm, that maybe if you can lean into that, that what am I trying, the stabilizing force of knowing that everything has a time and a place, and knowing that maybe you don't have to do something now or blow up your life because it feels a little stagnant. Maybe let it rest a little bit more. You'll gain clarity over time. Those are just some of the things to look out for, and just see what's wanting to shift or evolve or change, and just give it some space over those days. Anything else you want to say there?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. All right, so then on the 9th of December, the sun is going to move into gate 26. Here's where we're going to start talking about some of your gates again. Gate 26, the trickster. It's in the will center. It's also in the I Ching, the taming power of the great. And in quantum, she calls it integrity. It's in the channel 2644, reaching over towards the spleen center of surrender. Yes, okay.
Mm-hmm. I'm
and then
double checking
Earth
you.
is in... I checked myself before I got it. So
I can't double check you on names, but positioning, I got you.
Yeah. So the Earth is in gate 45, up there in the throat again. The gate of the gatherer, also in the I Ching, gathering together. And then quantum, she calls it distribution, in the channel of 4521, reaching to the will center, channel of money.
So do you think it's safe to say that this is it's my unconscious sun and earth, so it's probably pretty safe
3 months
to say
to your
that
birthday. Yes.
This is my design date-ish.
Yes, it is. I was hoping you would notice that. You did.
You think I wouldn't notice it?
A year ago, maybe not.
That's fair.
But you do now. That's fair. Now that I can remember what your unconscious sun is. All right, so gate 26, the trickster, it's called, which I think is an unfair name, one of those traditional human design names. Because, I understand it, but I think it's unfair, because it suggests that having the power to, and the ability to convince people, manipulate people to, and this is also using manipulation in a negative context, but skillful influence, let's say, persuasion, strategic communication, of having the ability to package the value of something so that others can understand its importance. And that 2644 is part of the chart that they, talk about business circuitry or sales, because that whole channel there is really, if you have that whole channel, you can be very skilled at sales, even if you're not in sales, because you have the ability to get people to see things your way, which is why they're calling it, the trickster. It makes it sound like you're a con man or something, but it's really, like I said, being able to package it so people can see it, because what its intention is being connected to gate 44 and the spleen. Spleen is about, survival. It's a tribal gate. It's about knowing what the tribe needs. It 44 works in that memory aspect of knowing, what happened before and what the tribe needs to move forward. And then the 26 is the ability to get people to listen. And that's, what sales is all about. A good salesperson, somebody with integrity, if they know they have a product or a service or something that is really going to benefit someone, they have to be very skillful at conveying that to people. And that's what this gate is able to do. And as you may have noticed when I said integrity there, that's why she talks about it in quantum human design, because it has so much influence. It comes from the will center. It has to come from a place of integrity, of,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because.
I mean, it's like you said, it's a tribal. Like the 26 is still
Mhm.
tribal energy, right? It's not
Yeah,
individual. Like
yeah,
it would
yeah, it's
be.
tribal.
So it's good for the not the all, that would be more collective, but it's good for the many. It's good for your group. It's not an individual energy, because then that can skew even further into that
Hmm.
negativeness.
Yeah, and it becomes more powerful when it is aligned with your own personal truth and your own, being ethical and all those things, because that's what builds trust. If people understand that what you're telling them, you can be effective at sales and persuasion and all that, and be a straight shooter. You don't have to be telling lies
Mm-hmm. Don't
about
have to be a
it,
snake
because
oil
it's
salesman.
really good for them. Then, so that's the sun. So, but then gate 45 then is a throat gate, and it is connected also to the will center. It's also tribal, and it is leadership through stewardship. The voice that it usually has is like I have or we have. It's like, it's called the gatherer, but it's the one we always refer to also as that king queen energy. And it's about organizing and having the resources so that the group, the tribe, thrives. It's speaking
Mm-hmm.
on behalf of the tribe or the community. It's guiding, it's directing, it's maintaining order. It's that voice, that central voice or authority for everybody. And it's a leadership energy that, when it's, I think, in its highest form, is benevolent. It's wanting to care for its people. It provides and knows what's best for them and leads them in that direction. So it's like leading through your presence rather than forcing them. And its motivation is to make sure that everybody has what they need. As you said, it's tribal. I like what you made that distinction before, that if it was used for personal gain or just your own personal goals, it's off balance. It's not being used in the correct way, because these two gates together can be very, very impactful
Mm-hmm.
and somewhat detrimental. Yes, very detrimental, if only used for your own good.
Yeah.
We all know what we're thinking about, right?
Uh-huh. I mean,
Yeah.
like, I can, whenever we talk about these gates, like, I can see how prevalent it is in me, because, like, something that bothers me to my absolute core is, like,
Mm.
when people do not, like, try to make sure everyone has what they need. Like, it makes me think of when the COVID pandemic first, like,
Mm-hmm.
really exploded, and like people were hoarding all of the toilet paper
Yeah.
because it was such a short supply, and people were like panicking and gathering it for themselves, and
Yeah.
it's something that irked me. It's like, okay, we only have so much, like we have to share. I am big on
Oh.
share.
Yeah. 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 I see that. It's true. You know that we'd all be better off if we didn't try to hoard everything for ourselves. It doesn't mean you give everything you have away, but it also means you don't need to like cut yourself off like that. Yeah. So okay. So these gates are programming partners,
Hmm.
and they kind of sit. They're opposite each other on the wheel, but they're also on the same kind of like tribal place of resources, distribution, influence, authority, all those themes there. 45 leads, but the 26 persuades.
Hmm. Good.
Yeah, yeah. They say that 45 is the gather and oversee energy, and 26 is the convince and deliver energy. One works
Mm-hmm.
behind the scenes, one stands at the front. And so, as you look at how 45 supports 26 in this sun and earth configuration, it's like 45 holds the values, the container, like this is the way kind of thing, and 26 is there to help support that and elevate that. So it's kind of conveying your values and conveying what it is that needs to happen, even though it's not the throat gate. It has the energy to do that because it's coming from this place of what the tribe needs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it brings the 45 kind of brings a sense of responsibility when you think about having that much power and people are looking to you. You may not be at the head of an organization or anything or a family, but you just innately know that people do look to you for guidance and for leadership, and understanding that is important and core to that 26 energy of being able to make sure it acts in integrity as an influence is influencing in the right way. Because influence is very sacred almost when it's actually serving people. It's a big responsibility, and it's an incredible gift too to have that awareness, which you're right, I think you do. I've always seen it that, and it's it's a lot of things in your chart that also support that energy. I think by you looking at human design, that having this understanding earlier in life, I think is interesting for you to see how it plays out, because usually unconscious aspects we don't notice as much, because if you weren't digging into the themes of your chart in your life, you might not notice that. Because like I say, like in high school, things got put in your path a lot, and of leading things, leading people, leading organizations. And it was always very clear to the people that you worked with that you were coming from a place of wanting everybody to succeed. I could see that, even if you didn't always see it, I could see it, and I'm sure they felt it from you.
Yeah. I mean, like, so if I'm in any kind of leadership position, like, first of all, I probably have not seeked it out, but I'm also like sought it out. I knew that didn't sound quite right. But I've not sought it out, but it's like, and I feel such a great responsibility when I am in a leadership position. Like, I'm never going to belittle someone or put someone else down so that I can succeed. That's like not a thought I would ever have, because it's like, I'm like, okay, we're all in this together. I might be, and I don't even honestly most of the time probably think of myself as, all right, I'm the leader, but it's like, I'm trying to make sure we're all succeeding.
I'm just thinking about how this also plays out into why we're so obsessed with the housewives, which we were talking about before we came on Salt Lake City. I want to do a whole human design debrief on Salt Lake City housewives.
That would be a fun little bonus episode.
I could do a whole podcast on these people.
Just the Salt Lake City ladies.
Probably. I can do a human design debrief weekly. But our next, that would be fun. But what you just said, because it's so far out of your realm of comprehension, and to watch people do it in real time, like that is their way of operating, is so, it makes it so clear and so incongruent. Like you said, in the leadership that we have right now, we see it, it's just like, oh my God, I could never do that. And but I think it's still important to recognize it, call it out when it's happening. So it makes you an even stronger leader, I think, to know that, there's a potential that people do act that way, and I just don't. And then I used to tell your dad all the time that we would often get blindsided by people who, in our business life or whatever, that acted solely out of their own
interest, benefit.
Interest. Yeah, without any thought to anybody else, or would lie about something, or would just be so, underhanded. And he would want to beat himself up for it, like, oh, I should have seen it, or that he's a wheeler jailer, I'm not it. I'm like, you're not the flaw here. I said, the reason it is stunning is because it would never enter your mind to behave in that way.
It's
just not part of your it's not part of your journey. If you're questioning your integrity, you shouldn't be. You have integrity.
yeah exactly.
Right. Yeah. So anyways, during this time there could be some themes around, since there is a will center connections with these gates. One is a will center gate, one is connected to the will center. There could be still some issues that come up around the will center, around self-worth and value and proving. You don't want to be acting out of proving what you can do or proving what you have. To also be clear about what you're responsible for versus what you're not responsible for, because that's another trap you can get in, is trying to fix everything and, have your influence everywhere. But, contrary to what some people believe, there's not a king of the world. They all have their own little areas. There could be, issues coming up. Maybe you haven't felt valued or recognized for your skills or leadership. Just to, pay attention to that, to see, what relationships you're in, making sure that you're creating those healthy boundaries for you around the people that you are here to be with, and make sure that they understand your value as well. You may be called up into leadership. There's lots of themes around leadership and how you influence people. So collectively, again, there could be maybe some leadership shifts or transitions or conversations about resources, distribution, fairness. Focus on who controls all the money or the power or the influence, those kind of things, and making leaders accountable, which I feel like we're slowly getting there, of wanting our leaders to have a lot more integrity than they currently do. And I'm not just talking about one, I'm talking about all of them. Mm-hmm. All of them. Conversations, big conversations around value, trust. Do we trust our leaders? Why? What are we doing?
Why
Reorganizing, restructuring. Yeah. Could be interesting. I mean, I feel that's coming anyhow, but it may be really coming to a head.
And I will say, I think there's something a little attractive, elusive, kind of like interesting about more of like a quiet leadership. People that
not having to think about it all the time and wondering.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, like, if you don't normally feel this energy, like, there's something to be said. What I just had a thought. What was I gonna say? Oh, like, typically the people that you want to follow, you want to see in leadership, that you think are great leaders, are not the ones that have to tell you that. They're not the ones that are pushing it. You just kind of, it's almost, you're just naturally drawn to that leadership because it feels right.
Yeah. Well, they have your best interest at heart. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. If you have to always tell people you're the best at something, maybe you're not.
Yeah, it's like if you have to keep telling someone on Salt Lake City, I am a nice person, you're probably just some food for that.
I am the best friend to anyone.
I don't ever do anything wrong to you.
Okay. Let's save it for the other podcast. If you guys are interested in a Housewives podcast with human design, please let us know, because we are on it.
Yes. And then I could tell my husband, this is for work.
Work. He'd double roll his eyes.
I know.
That's all right. Okay, so let's move on. I think we've proved our point on that one. So on the 14th of December, we're going to move into the Sun in Gate 11.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Gate of Ideas. Mm-hmm. I Ching, it's called Peace. And in Quantum, she calls it the Conceptualist. It's in the gate, it's in the channel of Curiosity with 56 reaching down to the Ajna.
Nope, down to the throat.
I mean, throat. It's in the Ajna moving down to the throat. Mm-hmm. 56. Then the Earth is going to be in Gate 12, Gate of Caution, also called Caution. And in Quantum, she calls it the channel. It's Throat Gate. Throat Gate.
Yep, there it is. He was hiding. Okay.
And it's in the channel Openness with Gate 22. So it's a throat gate, also reaching down to the emotional solar plexus. However, this one is in the individual circuitry. So we have an individual throat gate and we have a collective Ajna gate.
Okay.
The Gate 11 is one of those ones that is usually easier for me to convey. It is the gate of ideas. It has a lot of ideas. There's a lot of insight, a lot of possibility. It is part of the abstract circuitry. So there's inspiration through memory and emotion, past experiences, that kind of thing of making meaning. It connects to 56, which is the storyteller. So that energy there, curiosity, storyteller, it's still that energy of trying to make meaning. It's the channel there with the 56. There's that kind of storyteller bard energy that we talk about, of trying to let people know what happened, the story. And so it's it's one of those gates that when people have, I always tell them, gate of ideas, if you have them, you have lots of ideas, but this is collective circuitry. Not all the ideas are yours, right?
Do you have the 11?
I do not. I just have an open head.
You have the
43, 23, that's all the 4.
Okay.
Undefined. I mean, not in a channel. But, okay. So there's a lot of imagination, there's a lot of storytelling, a lot of reflection, creativity, expressing it in creative ways. She calls it the conceptualist because it can be about conceptualizing like what, could be, or what the meaning could be of, what happened. And it's good at, or it's excels best when the ideas are shared, when they're invited to be shared. And letting ideas mature. So I say, like I said, again, if you have this gate, a lot of times I encourage people to, because they always resonate like, yes, I have so many ideas. But like I said, they're not all for you. You don't have to act on them or feel pressured to act on them. You can just honor them. If you think something's a good idea, write it down, let it marinate. Keep a idea journal or place where you, on your phone, just don't always act on them. You don't have to. And see what, with your strategy, your authority, what comes up over time. You may find that some of these ideas are meant for you, but you might also meet people that their ideas for someone else that you can share with them. So then the gate 12, throat center gate, right? It's giving voice to emotion because it's connected to the emotional solar plexus. This one's very much tied to mood. It's in that individual circuitry, like we said. It's a very moody energy moving through there. And it really, people that have this gate or even the full channel are usually rather expressive, gifted in some way with creative arts, I think, and being able to express what they're feeling or what they know about human emotion and the human experience. It's called the gate of caution because it is around timing. It kind of understands that there's a right time and a right place in order to engage. It can have a lot of holding back energy, a lot of feeling the need to be kind of isolated. But that's because it understands that there's a time and a place for expressing. It's very sensitive to its audience and to the mood. And it's incredibly powerful voice when it is acting at the right time. It can really shape people and their understanding of the human experience. Did you want to say something?
Just while you were talking, this whole channel, it made me think of a cat.
A cat. Yeah. You can't force a cat, can you?
No. But, and then like if a cat, some cats are just naturally a lot more loving than others maybe. But then like Lily, for example, she only wants pets when she wants pets, when she wants to express it. And then when she's in that mood and that she wants the pets, like you can feel that emotion. You can just kind of like, it's more meaningful.
You feel very special.
Yes.
She also has the gate 5 because we definitely have a routine as well. When she wants to express it, when she doesn't. I know her times. Yeah, so there is a tendency though with that gate to hold out too much, to hide too much, because there may have been or you may have felt many times the pressure to express when you're not ready, and it can create a very uncomfortable feeling. There could be, like I said, there could be a lot of moodiness there, and can feel misunderstood, and so they tend to hold back. This connection here is really interesting because gate 11 like generates ideas, and gate 12 helps give those ideas and those a voice, right? So it's a lot of imagination and expression, but timing is everything, because gate 11 is an ajna gate, so it thinks, and gate 12 is connected to emotion, so it's more about feeling. So when gate 12 is in the earth position to gate 11, it's it helps those ideas that are the correct ideas. If they've marinated, it gives them time to marinate it so that you know that those ideas are delivered with impact and purpose, and not just kind of spewing everything out there, right? It helps you ground into that feeling of it's okay to wait. I don't have to rush this, it's something that will flourish more. The right ideas at the right time. Don't feel pressured. And it kind of helps ground into the discernment and timing that 11 doesn't have.
Yes. There's a reason that we say don't make decisions with the mind.
Let those ideas marinate. So there could be a flood of ideas you're having during this time. It's the big energy on the planet. A lot of inspiration maybe, or not new memories, but memories might be resurfacing, and that are coming up that want to be.
Or more context and understanding of memories that you maybe ruminate over.
Yeah. You may have a desire to express something meaningful, but don't feel the pressure to it if you don't have it fully fleshed out. Let it just kind of, like if there's maybe something you've been wanting to discuss with someone, you may be able to tap into this energy a little bit more during this time, if it feels right, because there's going to be a lot of sensitivity to that timing. You may actually also feel like you want to be alone a little bit more during this time to help you kind of process all the things that may be going on in your head. And again, it might give you, if you have been sitting on a few ideas for things that maybe haven't felt the right time, this might be a time for you to revisit that and see how it feels again. See what you've been thinking about and if it feels right. Excuse me. So during this time, there could be a lot of heightened energy, emotional energy, especially around communication and what we're talking about. People may be speaking with a little more impact. Like I said, I've said it many times here, but the people I know that have this channel in particular, they're not always out there sharing every idea they have. They're not sharing everything they know. They're quiet quite often, but then when they finally do come out and share what they've been thinking, it's like, whoa. It's not that it shifts full realities. It's just if you really feel that this is a very thoughtful process from someone, that they really took the time to tap into what they're feeling and finding the understanding and find the meaning on the other side of it. You know what I mean? Where they always say you shouldn't share from inside the crisis. Kind of like wait until you've had a little time to figure out what really happened and what was going on.
So really figure out what the story is.
Yeah. So you might be feeling pulled a little bit toward reflection, doing all that kind of thing. So, yeah, that's kind of the vibe that's going to be happening for yourself and all over. Alrighty then. So, moving on. Okay. December 20th. Sun is going to move into gate 10, which is in the G center. Love of the self, also known as treading in the I Ching. And then in quantum, she calls it self-love. This is one of those gates that connects to 3 gates. 3 channels are present. It's in the 1020, awakening, connecting to the throat. It's in the 1034, connecting to the sacral, exploration. And it's in the 1057, in the spleen center, perfected form. Okay, and then the earth is going to be in gate 15, as we talked about earlier. Gate of extremes. In the I Ching, it's called modesty. And quantum, she calls it compassion. And it's in the 515, as we said earlier, in the gate of, channel of rhythm.
I don't quite see how the I Ching names play out here.
Neither. I was wondering about that, but that's what it is. I don't know. I'd have to go and look at the I Ching and read some of that before I could comment on that, I
Yeah.
suppose, but I'm not a I Ching expert.
Fair.
Barely a human design. Okay, so here we go. So here we have the G Center gate. Gate 10, love of self. Gate 15 it's called extremes. It's the other end, so but it's also known as love of humanity because
Mm.
in the G Center, all those gates are about love or direction, love and or direction, right? So there's a lot about the identity of the self, direction, love. And so love of the self, love of humanity. So where the extremes come in is there's themes in the 15 around diversity. It's and the diversity of the whole human experience and the acceptance of extremes and differences and contradictions. Being more fluid in personal rhythm and pacing and timing. And there's a lot of acceptance in that gate for people, for others as who they are, right? And it's kind of like it understands the idea that you can honor the full spectrum of experiences and humanity, and not really let it interrupt your own pattern, and understanding that we all have our own way of doing it. Because the 5 end of it we were talking about earlier, the consistency and the fixed and the like natural rhythms, there's that. It's one of those interesting channels where you have both ends of that spectrum of like fixed rhythm and variable rhythm, and but they're both rhythm. So it's like honoring and finding that balance between the two of where your own personal rhythm lands within the grand, scope of things, which is also, where you land as an individual in the collective humanity, that kind of thing. This gate 15, the Earth gate, has a natural magnetism. People really, both of these gates actually, because they're influential in the sense that there's themes in both of these gates of being yourself and being what's correct for you. Because gate 10 is that experience of love of the self and exactly who you are. And so if you have this gate, especially if you have prominent position in gate 10, like this is one of the big influential roles you have in life and on people, is to have total self-acceptance for who you are and how you do things, and loving yourself, warts and all, whatever that means, and being that example of that. Courage to be yourself, even when it's inconvenient, which plays really well with this diversity theme, and the gate of extremes and all that stuff is also, can you honor your own rhythm with, unapologetically, like not making excuses for yourself and what you need.
Yeah. I mean, we talk about the earth placement is that grounding energy. And it's like with these two in this configuration, it's like this grounding energy of like loving the diversity and humanity and loving everyone's differences helps you to love yourself and your differences.
Well, I feel like it's kind of the encapsulation of the theme of why I love human design. When you're authentically yourself and you understand how unique you are, it gives you a greater appreciation of, how unique everybody is, and being able to accept people as they are because you yourself want to be accepted. You can't help but be who you are. I mean, you can. That's where all the conditioning comes in, and why you may have been miserable parts of your life because you were trying to be something other than you are. But these two gates especially show that accepting who you are shows you, and I think helps create that love of humanity, because when you understand your own self, you can't help but be more accepting of everybody else, because you realize that we all have a part to play and we're all here to work together, but in our own unique ways.
And honestly, like, it'd be kind of boring if everyone was the same. Like, blah.
Well, yeah, I think we know what that looks like. Any institution of why we're trying to break away and out of everything that does that, the homogenized world, has in some way brought humanity forward, and that was part of the program, I think, at the time, was to not intentionally but we kind of did have, everybody just had this one goal for a while, but now it's like everything is set and structured, and we know, you know, we've created so much in this world that now, in order to keep going, that all has to fall apart, because it's the whole stagnation again. If it stagnates, it dies, right? You have to introduce new ideas, that we talk about all the time about the gene pool. Create stability through introducing new genes, new
Mm-hmm.
ideas, new ways of doing things is what creates health and safety.
Yeah. I
Anyways.
mean, when things are all the same, there's no spirit. There's nothing. There's no different. There's no imagination. There's no fun.
Yeah. Yes. We are definitely seeing that. So, gate 10 is a very personal gate. It's in circuitry that is very much about the individual. Gate
Mm-hmm.
15 is collective energy, and it's collective logical energy. It's looking towards the future kind of thing of focusing on what we all need to move forward. You know, gate 15 is always looking at who are we as a people, our humanity. Gate 10 is looking at who am I in this place. I think we've established that. So, when we're looking at how they can work together, obviously they work together. You have to have that balance there. You know, Gate 15 reminds us that being human is very messy. It's very, there's so much, so many different ways things can go. Gate 10 can be very anchored in its identity, but gate 15 can kind of helps soften that a little bit, the rigidity, to be like, you know, there's lots of different ways for people to be. And if you understand that and you can see that, I think we've pretty much established that, though, don't you? That, like, when you see the full fabric of all the different ways to do things, that you can see your place in it and feel more comfortable being rooted in being who you are. And so, really, it's about not letting people knock you off your center, I think,
Mm.
the themes here. You know,
Mm-hmm.
what's right for you. You know, I honor me. It's kind of that namaste. Light in me sees the light in you. I honor you. You honor me. We get to be who we are.
Is that what namaste is
Well,
meaning?
namaste generally it means, yeah, the light in me like sees or honors the light in you.
That's
It's that
beautiful.
namaste consciousness. Yeah. Yeah. And it's just an acknowledgement of we're all part of the same. You have your part, I have my part.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
that's really what we're seeing here, these
Mm-hmm.
energies.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I I feel like it speaks for itself.
Yeah, this one I think it
It's pretty
does. It's
easy.
like yeah, there isn't it's a very harmonious pairing too.
Yeah. But during this time, if it doesn't feel, you know, if this is a concept that's kind of like shaking something up in you, maybe
Mm.
just look at your
Mm-hmm.
relationship of how you feel about yourself, your identity, what is actually true, and what may be identities that have been placed on you through conditioning.
What's the date range of these ones?
This is December 20th to roughly the 24th, 25th,
Okay.
right before
I always
Christmas.
when we're going through this, I'm always like also kind of
Yeah.
thinking of it in terms of like what usually happens around this time of year. It's like family
Mm-hmm.
gatherings and stuff like this. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's a good spot to be like leading up to family gatherings
Yeah.
to kind of like be able to kind of like be able to understand other people. So it's not just friction. It's to like these gates I think are also about like kind of seeing where other people are and kind of just
Mm-hmm.
understanding that.
Yeah, I love that you brought that up, because we have we have the honor and the blessing of not having these frictions, mostly in our
Mm-hmm.
family. But I know a lot of families do. There's a lot of blended families out there. There's a lot of not chosen families where you're placed where you are in life, but these are also your growth and learning opportunities. But that is a really great microcosm to look at, you know, in the family dynamic. What roles do you guys all place on each other? Like, what
Mm-hmm.
have you always said this person is or that person is? And how can we maybe step back and realize that,
Good or
you
bad.
know, is that person really what I've put on them any more than I am what they have put on me? You know, and maybe going in with a little more open heart and a little more acceptance of everybody's diversity and what they play. And I really like that you pointed that out. And then in turn, noticing where you may, in that unit or in other situations, where you maybe tend to abandon yourself and what you know about yourself in order to fit in order to be included, because, that's what we all want to do, is we want to be accepted. And there's themes here around you can be accepted. You have to be who you are. If you're not authentically being yourself, you're not showing up as yourself, you're not contributing to the whole as how you truly can. And I think sometimes that friction is created because on this energetic or subconscious level, people know you're not being authentic, and it's not even maybe playing out as rationally or consciously as people think they are. It's just something bugs you about that person, maybe it's, or about you, and they know it's because you're not being truthful. You're not being who you really are. So you're right. Yeah. A lot of family gatherings coming up. But this is...
Yeah. Don't dim yourself. Let it shine.
Don't dim yourself, and do it with compassion. Be more accepting of others, and understanding that I always say someone being themselves, you may not like it, but if they're not actively hurting you, they're not intentionally trying to reach out and hurt you, you may just disagree with how they do things. That's okay, because chances are there's things about you that other people disagree with, and if you know in your heart you're not trying to hurt anyone, they just don't like the way you do with it, just be okay. Just let it roll off your back, because you can't change other people. You can only change how you feel about other people and how accepting you can be. And there's some great lessons within this pairing here about that. So, yeah, a lot of that going on.
Yes.
Don't try to make everybody like you or vice versa.
Yeah, no, it's just lame.
We don't want that. So a lot of those themes during that time. All right, we're getting on to Christmas here. December 25th. Oh, this is beautiful. Sun is in gate 58. Vitality. The joyous is called in I Ching. And it's called joy. It's down in root. It's called joy.
I can find it.
Human design. Yeah, you have it. You don't have it. You do have the full. Yeah, that's right. It's the channel of judgment, 1858.
Yes.
That's the sun. And then the earth gate's in gate 52. Also root center. That's the gate of stillness. It's called keeping still, or it's also called the mountain in the I Ching. And in quantum, she calls it perspective. And it creates a channel with gate 9 and sacral in the channel of concentration. So here we have 2 root center gates that move in different ways. Now that you know it's in gate, or it's connected to your 18, is there anything that you can glean about what some of the themes are in 58? Do you know? Or I'm just asking. You don't have to.
Okay. So
what's a root center do? What's a root center gate? What's the root center about?
So the root center is about creation. Like you have that is where we talk about like the pulse starting.
Getting into
creating
action.
Movement. Not necessarily creation, but like...
Well, yeah, I mean, in a way,
into
yes.
action. And then you said like 58 is about joy. So it's about creating movement, doing things that spark joy and just like happiness and just feel good.
And it's in that channel of judgment, which sounds judgy.
Also get a bad rap.
But 18 is correction. And it's collective energy. So this is really, it's another one of your strengths and your gifts of knowing what needs to be refined, corrected, to make it even better. And it's not coming from a nitpicky, negative way. It comes like when it's coming from a place, I mean, it can be, when it's coming from a place of joy, something that you love, because it's moving through that circuitry there as it moves up towards the throat. This is the energy of craftsman, of refining, of mastery. It's like, what do you
of betterment
love? What are you going to keep working at? What are you going to keep, redoing and refining and making it better? And that 18 like gives to the 58 that direction of knowing, okay, we've got this energy. We want to create. We want to build. We want to do something. And it's like, okay, this is how it needs to be shifted, fixed, changed, whatever. That's how it moves through there. So it's a joyful effort. Motivation to make life better because it is collective. It's for everybody. It's not to be focused on yourself as far as these corrections or this judgment, but it's really the theme of wanting to work at something to improve it, to knowing how to improve it. That's how the 18 contributes. But it's, I love this gate because it always reminds me that, you should move through things with starting point of joy and gratitude, of like when you're building and when you want to pursue something, to do it with that sense of, joy and vitality. Give it that positive energy. And that also helps tap you into why you're doing it. You know what I mean? Like, you're not just plugging away at something. It means something to you. It's something that really is in your heart. And then the gate 52 has a different way of a different way, but it's the mountain. It's kind of like a mountain. It's very steady. It's able to, so it has that pulse of energy as well, because that's how the root center works. And gate 52 is the gate that sees the overall picture. It knows, like, okay, it creates this stillness, this space, so that when the pulse comes, it knows where to focus, which is what gate 9 is. Gate 9 is gate of focus. And so, that's together why they create concentration, because it's the ability to have the pause and to not move and to be safe and comfortable in the just putting out the feelers, the field, knowing you don't have to move. It's not the right time. It's being able to pick up on it. It's like an
observational.
Yeah, it's a very calm containment of energy until the right direction appears, so that when you're ready, you can move, right? Because you never know when it's going to be with the root center gate of when that's going to happen. And so it's understanding this like sense of stillness as a way to create steady progress in the future, I think, because if you're not still and steady, look at meditation. They teach you how to be still and steady, so you're not like just jumping after everything that your brain tells you to do. This is knowing, is knowing. I think creates a space for that sacral energy to be more clearly heard, because both of those gates, if you see the correlation of moving towards something that really moves you, really, in a way, because it's waiting for a sacral response. It's waiting for something to respond to in the positive. You want to get moving. And then the gate 58 is also like, this is moving me out of a sense of joy and wanting to create in that way. So things to avoid, or not avoid, but notice how these energies can play out, especially that 58 definitely can have a tendency to be hyper focused on the self, and even perfectionism. There's a lot of that. There's a little bit of nitpicking in, criticizing, feeling that everything has to be fixed by you. Being frustrated when things don't really improve fast enough for you. And like I said, really avoid the self-criticism here with this gate. There could be a tendency to do that, and you want to avoid that. I have the 18. You have the full channel. I need to pay attention to what happens during this transit. Maybe I'll be less self-critical.
I don't know if it's just through human design, like my growing knowledge of human design, or like the projectorness, but I don't feel, or I don't remember like that I turn this inward on myself a lot. So I don't know if it's something I've gotten better at, or
I don't think you do. I think because you do have the full channel, it makes it a little bit easier. Sometimes that 18 is just like really because 18 is that correction part of it. So it's really the energy of like, this is wrong, I gotta get this right, gotta do it perfect. That's that gate when it's focused on the self. But You have a little bit more energy flow there, I think, with the 58. This pairing between the two, the 58 wants to improve. It's really wanting to make things better. And the 52 being that stillness, that point of being to see the overall picture. Like we said, it's like the bird of prey circling. It's just kind of easy. It's not rushing anything. It's just, seeing the bigger picture and getting yourself that stillness, requiring that sense of grounded stillness within yourself so that you will know what actually needs improving, what really it is you want to work towards to make better. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. 58 maybe a little bit more energized. Gate 52 is a little more restrained. So those are those things. I like this analogy of like, we need to fix this. Wait, what actually needs to be fixing? What are we actually doing here? Like, let's not just
what
jump
really
into
needs to be
it.
fixed?
Like, what's the bigger picture here? Okay, so anyways, I think we kind of established that, that gate 52 grounding into that 58, so you know what needs to be improving. So you might be feeling that pull to improve things during that time. Maybe creating healthier habits, routines, or systems. It is in the spleen center, so there is that. Maybe looking at your environment around you, your business,
Nothing's
your
in the
families. I mean, it's reaching towards the spleen. The energy is pointing towards the spleen, which is focused around, vitality, or
Survival.
It's called vitality, healthy systems, healthy practices, things that are good for your own self, let's say.
Yes.
You might find that you need a little bit more stillness at this time to get clear on these things, and that's okay because the earth energy is going to be supporting that and giving you the time to be still, which again, like you said, this is coming in at Christmas. I mean, it's funny, Christmas, joyful. That's what always the theme is there. But then it's also, when you think about the Christmas story of how in that tradition of how, I'm not a theologist, I did grow up Catholic, but we all know away in a manger, it was a very quiet, small, still place where the great joy was brought into the world in the story. And I feel, God, don't you, I mean, I love a Christmas Eve, when it's like quiet after it, like at night when it's before Christmas Day, that period in between where it's just everything is, you can sit with your twinkling lights and just kind of take it all in. And
it's quiet, but you're anticipating the joy of the next morning.
Hopefully.
Yeah. And
I've always felt Christmas Eve. I love it so much more than Christmas. Like, I love the night Christmas Eve where it feels so, but you're right, it feels very expectant and beautiful. And I think I love it because it's where after all before all the excitement, but after all the preparations, there's that place in between where it's fleeting. For me, I think it's only a few hours, but it just feels so like calm and still.
Yeah, you're just sitting there kind of like enjoying everything that's happened.
Yeah, because what else can you do? Everything's been done, hopefully. And everything's closed, nowhere to go. You've gone and done all the things. Now just sit back and chill and be still. Nice. Looking forward to it. All right, last one. Coming out with a bang. Going out with a bang in the month because it's now New Year's Eve, 31st, right around there. And I know I've talked about this probably the third time now, but you and I know we talked about it last year. Gate 38 is the sun gate of the fighter. Also known as opposition in the I Ching. And in quantum, she calls it the visionary. And it's in the gate, or it's in the channel of struggle, 2838, another reaching towards the spleen.
Yes, it's in the root.
So these are also root gates. And then the earth is in gate 39, other side of the root. Provocation. And it's also known as obstruction in the I Ching. And in quantum, she calls it recalibration.
Okay.
And it's in the channel of emoting as it connects to 35 in the solar plexus.
55.
What did I just say?
35.
35? Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean, there's a lot of
3955 is a channel of emoting.
yeah, there's a lot of repeating numbers and different configurations in the root area, so that's
I know,
fair.
38, 39, 53, 54, 52, 55, 58.
Yeah. Bingo.
60. Bingo. Yes. Okay. So these gates together create a really interesting energy that's meant to shake things up. Definitely meant to shake things up. The fighter, though, it's the inner drive to find what's worth fighting for. So we had the vitality also out of joy. This one is like, it connects to the 28, which she calls, which is called the game player. And in quantum, she calls it adventure and challenge, right? So it is
The
literally, yeah, 28, what it connects to, what 38 connects to.
Okay.
It's traditionally called struggle, right? But the other end of that there is like, yes, let's do it. But this is the starting energy, that pulse of knowing the direction of what's worth fighting for. It's like, I'm going to go on this quest. We're going to do this thing, but only because I feel very strongly about it. And I know this is something that needs to happen. You know, there's a lot of personal integrity. There's a lot of discernment.
It's the hill you're going to die on. That's
because that channel of struggle it's you have to, like, I feel rooted in healthy expression of this energy has to be rooted in, like, I know I'm going to have to go through this challenge, this quest, let's say. It's like Don Quixote and the that's probably not something to reference, but the Knight on a Quest or whatever, Odysseus, whatever you want to call it. That journey of, I know it's going to be rough, it could be difficult, but I can do it. It's worth it. I need to do this, right?
This is what
to
I
give
believe
life
in.
Purpose, right? Meaningful challenges. And so 839 then on the other side, it's called provocation because it's really, its energy is provoking an emotional response for the sake of really getting into meaning in that way. So it stirs emotional truth. It's what I always liken it to. I've said it many times. It's like the guitar string when it's out of tune. You know, it's like it can throw everything out of balance, but it's someone that their energy when it walks in the room is kind of like that tuning fork, or that's something that is just felt in the room, and it can be provoking to other people because if you carry this energy, you probably understand the feeling of being in a space or being around people, and you know when things are off, you know when people aren't being real, and then also it can come back at you in negative ways as well sometimes because people may feel like you're poking them. I mean, it does have kind of a poking energy. It wants to, like, get at you because it wants you to wake up. It wants you to, like she says, her name for it in quantum is recalibration. Something's out of tune. Something's out of whack. We have to.
I'm still thinking on your guitar analogy. Like, if you just look at a guitar, you don't know that something's out of whack with it. You don't know a string is out of tune. And then which is this person's energy coming in the room. Like, as soon as you strum that guitar, you're like, oh, we got to change this. This is bad.
Yeah. And it's really noticing, let's see. I just went dark again in my room.
Yeah, I noticed you're very dark. Did you lose the sun?
Yes, I did. I'm going to stop recording during the day because the clouds go by and suddenly I'm in a cave by myself. Watch, if I open the curtains, I'll be blasted out with sunlight in a minute. So we'll just have to deal with the darkness. But so it's connected to gate 55, this 39, right? So that is the, gate of spirit or abundance. And so really this poking is to awaken the spirit, and it's helping people break up, possible stagnation or numbness, that they've been operating from. And you can see how it ties to the 38 because it's kind of waking you up energy. It's like, hey, something's not right here. You're maybe a little disconnected from what makes you feel alive, your spirit. What's worth really fighting for here? What is it? And so that energy of the 39 there being in the earth gate, there is this, I feel like it's going to be asking you, like, do you need to wake up? What do you need to feel in order to reconnect to your spirit, to the spirit, to what makes you feel abundant, what makes you feel good? Are you able to really, are you up for the challenge of going deeper into that and understanding that it is worth it if you are following what feels right for you? What is the direction you need to go? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it can sometimes use that provoking energy, since it's emotional energy, to kind of poke at or confront what is the emotions behind what you're doing. Are you struggling right now? Are you picking battles that maybe you don't need to? Are you just fighting for the sake of like just getting in there? And because there's a lot of people that carry that 38 energy and the whole channel of struggle, that their life can be a lot of struggle. My light's struggling right now. Let me try to turn it on. I don't know if it's going to help or not.
This is apparently a very prominent cloud.
We've hit the cloudy part of the day. We are back in the light.
Yeah. But like,
Okay, yeah,
talking about the
light.
whole channel of the 3828, like, I think in our family we have two very good examples of both sides of it.
Yes, we do. Yes, there is struggle that when entered, in the right way or in the right mindset or with the right intention and outcomes, is definitely productive. It keeps you always moving forward. But then there are people that just make their lives freaking difficult for themselves and just always pick a fight. You can have that struggling. Yeah, you can have that fighter energy and you're fighting with everyone. It's just like
to no
in
one's
the
benefit.
detriment. To no one's benefit. Yeah, it can have that often like stubbornness or resistance to everything and everyone around you. Taking on battles that like drain you instead of strengthening you. And it's sad to see. It's like, but in the human design context, that's one of those gates. This channel's actually these two gates, 39 and 38, plus the channel of struggle, they get a bad rap. It's like people read maybe a traditional version of it and they feel like my life's always going to be a struggle. I make trouble for myself. People don't like me. I'm too provoking, blah, 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 blah. But you've got to look at the larger context of the whole thing. That's why you can't just pick apart one or two pieces of your chart and have it define you. You've got to see it in the whole, context. Because especially if you're like, say you're a 5 or a 6 profile and you have, 38, 39, like you're meant to impact people. You are there to shake things up for them. And especially, you, as a line 5, this could be part of your whole life's mission, is to be able to hold that space where you know what people need and you know what battles are worth it and what aren't. And when they come into your energy, you help them with that. It's not a detrimental thing. But like I said, you don't know what needs fixing until you know what's broken.
Yeah.
You don't know what's out of tune. Like you said, you can't look at a guitar and know if it's out of tune. You got to strum that guitar. So this energy always comes around where we celebrate the New Year's of was that the Gregorian calendar? Is that? Yes.
Gregorian.
Everybody's feeling high. Everybody's having a good time. Everybody's ready to take on the battle of the next year, setting those intentions. But you know what? Remember, human design, you don't have to do that yet. So just chill.
Yeah.
But it is a good time.
We're still just ruminating on maybe what the things are.
Exactly, because we're still in the quarter of mutation. Things aren't moving yet. This is taking stock, looking at what's worked, what hasn't. And you may at this time recognize with this energy what is out of balance in your life, what is out of whack, what is really you feeling that tension, that out of tuneness within yourself of maybe what you're going to fight for, what you're going to change, what you want to do. And this is really looking at where you could improve. So you can see how, as we move out of these transits, as we move towards January, when we are going to get into the beginning of the Human Design New Year, these themes are about mutation. What has changed? What has transformed? What do we want to move on to the next thing, which is where we'll be in January, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, quite the stage. A lot happening in December.
It's always a busy time.
But it's a time to like really take stock again, get honest with what your needs are, what your energy is, what your place is, who you are you being yourself, what can be improved, what do you want to do as you move forward.
Where's the joy?
Find the joy between the Christmas shopping and the holidays and everything else. There's all this energetics going on at another level for you. So no wonder everybody's so tired.
Yeah. I think we should all just be able to take January off.
Everybody's like, yeah, that'd be nice. Well, I'm excited. So when we see each other, we will be I'm gonna bring gate 52 with me in the
You and Ian.
in the what was I gonna say? A container shape presence of your brother who carries that energy, gate 52.
Yes.
Because we'll see each other on the 29th, and then we'll be rolling on through to what, the 7th, I think?
Yes.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Very excited. So anyway, so that's December and the transits. Anything else you want to say about that energy before we move on to your favorite part of the episode?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. All right. So that means we're coming to the end of another episode. So you mean that means it's time for
the incarnation cross of the week.
Week. A little rusty.
Well, as soon as you said it, I was like, oh my god, what do I normally say?
I know, I'm sorry. I
glitched for a second.
That's what we'll say. It was a recording. It wasn't you. Yes, the incarnation cross the week. So we wrap up every episode for a while now by highlighting one of the 192 incarnation crosses. Again, if you want more information about what an incarnation cross is, you can check out that workshop if you want to go really deep on understanding your incarnation cross. But we try to highlight one every episode because, as we said, these are big themes in people's lives. All the energy in your chart is really funneling through to particularly your sun gate, your conscious sun gate. But these are the main energy themes in your life. And so I try to share a little synopsis of a gate in an aspirational way, as a way of showing you that when you are living true to your type, your authority, the way your energy wants to naturally operate and honor that process in yourself, this is what naturally emanates from you, these themes in these lives. So today we're going to look at the left angle cross of separation. So it's a left angle cross, so that means the profile is a
5 or 6. Starts with a 5 or 6.
That's right. And so this cross consists of, in the conscious side of your chart, which would be on the right side, the black numbers, the sun is in gate 5, as we just talked about, which is patterns. The earth then is going to be in gate 35, as we just discussed, change. And then on the unconscious side, the left side of the chart, red numbers, the sun is going to be in gate 47, realization. And then the earth, unconscious earth, is in gate 22, openness.
So you have patterns, change, realization, and openness.
There you go. I know I was throwing you off on it. Just get to the end. I want to know what all the gates are.
I was just repeating those 3 the entire time.
Don't forget. Okay, so if you were born under the left angle cross of separation, you're here to live from your own steady rhythm. You move through life by sensing the patterns that support your well-being and the ones that pull you off center. When something doesn't align, you feel it clearly in your body. You know when it's time to stay, when it's time to step away, and when a pattern has served its purpose. This awareness helps you protect your energy and guide your life moving in a direction that feels true. Your presence teaches others that honoring their natural pace creates stability, clarity, and a deeper sense of self. You're also here to guide people into the kind of mindset work that creates real change. You understand the value of daily practices that strengthen emotional steadiness, open the heart, and bring the mind into coherence. You help people build habits that shift old patterns, release limitation, and create room for new possibilities. Your leadership comes through your lived experience. You show others what becomes possible when they commit to their inner work and trust the practices that keep them aligned with growth, grace, and transformation. Mm-hmm. Yep, there's that. There you go.
Good.
So, as we all move into December, we hope you all have the happiest of holidays at all the gatherings, big and small, that you may be a part of. And give yourself some grace, give others some grace. Really take some time. Hopefully you can find some time to get by yourself, get a little stillness in there. Don't try to do everything and be everything for everybody. That's our advice for December and always. And yeah, we just really appreciate you being here. Until next time, for now, Haley.
Bye.
You made it all the way to the end of today's episode, so you must have liked what you heard. If you did, make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode, and perhaps leave us a good review. And if you know someone who wants to dig into all things human design with us, make sure you share the Human Design Hive podcast with them. We'd really appreciate it. Thanks for listening.